Experts now believe that we are entering into the most dangerous time in the world's history, and that's as a result of all these conflicts over in the Middle East and around the world. But the United States is in the middle of this, all because of what's going on with Russia, North Korea, Iran, and with China. But look at this. It says Russia's hybrid war against NATO is ramping up, according to Danish intelligence. It says a new Danish intelligence assessment blames Russia for employing various gray zone tactics against its forces. Well, NATO, that's part of the United States. Okay, the United States is part of NATO, but I want to read a little of this to you. Look at this. It says, while Danish intelligence does not see an immediate threat of a kinetic war, it claims Russia's growing belligerence has included repeatedly threatening its warships and helicopters in Danish waters. These details are part of a new Danish intelligence threat assessment released on Friday that concludes Russia is in a state of increasing intense hybrid war with NATO. Let that sink in for a moment. But look at this. It also says NATO scrambles fighter jets as Russian strikes kill an entire family. That came out just today. Look at this. It says Russia's aerial bombardment, particularly on sites close to NATO territory to the west of Ukraine, have frequently pushed the alliance to protect its airspace with fighter jets. Member nations are collectively obliged to respond to attacks on other alliance nations under Article 5 of the founding treaty. This includes the United States. If Russia is to attack a NATO nation, that means all NATO countries, the US included, are obliged to respond to these attacks. Whether it's with sanctions, which we've already done, or are we going to have to respond with violent action? That's the concern. Look at this. It says Moscow's drones and missiles entering NATO airspace have not been treated as attacks on the alliance so far. Although roughly 20 drones crossed into Poland last month in what Prime Minister Donald Tusk said was a deliberate incident, Russia denied intentionally targeting the country. I've been saying this for several years. All that has to happen is we need some miscommunication or a miscalculation, and we will enter into World War III. But look at this, because this is what is scary. It says more than 40% of those surveys expected there to be a global conflict on multiple fronts among the great powers. Of those predicting World War III, nearly 2/3 expected nuclear weapons to be used. 2 out of 3 of them foresee such a conflict playing out in space as well. So we're not even safe if we go up in space, because these conflicts are going to play out up there as well. That's at least what they're saying. It goes on to say right here, in many ways, this speech is about fixing decades of decay. We became the woke department, but not anymore. This is what Pete Hegseth said, okay? Now, I want to show you one other thing, though. This is the concern. Look at this right here. It says, those who the United States would draft first if there were a war. Nearly all male U.S. citizens and male immigrants, regardless of immigration status, are required under federal law to register for select service within 30 days of turning 18. Now, this is why this is concerning. There are a lot of talks that the United States is going to go to war. But what is this war going to look like? Because Russia, they are conducting this kind of hybrid war with multiple countries. That's concerning, but the United States has been seeing our enrollment, okay, our selected service, well, for one, not just selected service, but for military personnel, we've been seeing our numbers go down. People aren't signing up for the U.S. military anymore. They're just not. And some of which because the big push for joining the U.S. military is we're going to pay for your college. Lately, a lot of businesses aren't looking for somebody with a college degree. They want somebody with real world experience, not just a degree. So that is one of the tough sells now is, okay, you sign up to be in the US military, we'll pay for your college. But a lot of people aren't going to college. So why sign up for the US military? And then the fact that Pete Hegseth is now saying that women are going to be treated just like men and they need to pass the same physical tests. We need to make sure there's no beardos in the US military. So that right there could actually decrease the amount of people that we see signing up. Or it could increase them. We don't know. That's something we're just going to have to wait and see. But look at this right here. I thought this was interesting. This article, just from today, it says 5 locations that would be most dangerous in event of World War III as Russia sends chilling threat to strike 23 UK locations. With Russia sending this threat to strike 23 UK locations, that has millions of people extremely concerned. Because Vladimir Putin has shown that he is not going to listen to anybody, President Trump included. So now Europe is on high alert. That what if this happens? What if that happens? What if they attack this NATO nation? What if it pulls us in? That's the big question. I want to read this to you. Look at this. It says right here, these threats, along with U.S. President Donald Trump's failed bids to broker a peace treaty between Russia and Ukraine, have sparked a conspiracy that World War III could be well on the horizon. If war did break out, though, it's not just the UK that would be at risk. There are actually 5 other dangerous locations, including one you might not expect. So we got the Taiwan Strait. It says Taiwan, once part of China, formerly known as Formosa. If war broke out here, it would force the United States, allied ships, and aircraft to challenge a fait accompli, according to Kazianis article in the National Security Journal. Problem, he says, is that conflict there would impact shipping lanes in a way the U.S., Japan, and the Philippines couldn't ignore. And we know that. That's one of the reasons why the United States is so concerned about what's going on in Taiwan. Also says Eastern Europe. The Russia-Ukraine war, which began with the former's official invasion on February 2022, continues to rage on. Yeah, the Eastern Europe is, again, it's concerning, to say the least. Israel and Iran, it says Israel and Iran have both exchanged devastating missile and drone attacks in recent years. There have been rockets launched, air bases hit, and according to the expert, war could easily escalate due to each side's miscalculation. Like I said, a miscalculation on any front could be devastating to the entire world. It also says the Korean Peninsula. North Korea has missiles, while South Korea is equipped with modern air power and is willing to retaliate if an attack takes place, per the journalist. According to the expert, a small spark would set off a tragic war, whether that be a fatal exchange along the northern limit line, or C, or a missile test that overshoots. Again, a miscalculation. That's all it takes. And then this one. This has a lot of people, the article I was reading, this has a lot of people wondering why, but let's read it. It says the Himalayas. It says right here, the 5th and final place where World War III could break out is the India-China Himalayas. The 2 nuclear powers could butt heads over the border. The road to war could start with a patrol clash, which turns into rocket and artillery duels, then spirals as air defenses and fighters joins. Kazianis speculates that outside powers would scramble to mediate, with missteps pulling the United States and Russia into the political war. Again, missteps, miscalculation, miscommunication. That's all it takes, and we are then in a war. Keep that in mind, because look at this. It says mysterious drone flights in NATO airspace have caused alarm across Europe. The alarm is that we continue to see these drones flying around. And again, I bring this up because we aren't, here in the United States, we've seen, drones and things like that flying around before. And yet we had no answers. We didn't know where they were coming from. We didn't know what they were doing, right? We had nothing. But I bring this up because right now, people see a couple drones flying around here and there, whether it's at an airport or just over a city, and people are now freaking out. What is that? Is that going to hurt us? What are they doing? Who is flying them? What information are they trying to gather? Those are the questions I'm seeing. So again, I'm bringing this to your attention because right now, experts believe we are in the most dangerous time in history here in the world, not just in the United States. So we'll see how this plays out over the next several months. Concern right now, though, is that all sides are just right there. We're on the verge of a potential war. And it won't be just a regional war. It could actually drag in the main powers, the United States, Russia, and even China. So we'll see what happens. But just know, as of today, that is where we're at. We are so close to a world war. Experts believe it's just a matter of time. So as we get more information on this, I promise I'll bring you all the latest news and updates as soon as we get it. As of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.